Kinsey, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were sensationally booed.
It's the sound of a whole stadium turning on you. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle just lived that nightmare. And honestly, this wasn't just noise. This wasn't background sound. This was the kind of roar that hits you in the chest and tells you very clearly that the room has decided against you. 1 second you think you're being celebrated, the next second you realize the crowd has flipped. That's what happened to Harry and Meghan, right there in front of tens of thousands of people, with nowhere to hide.
Foul ball. The boos were unmistakable as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle appeared at the Dodger game for the World Series in what can be only described as a massive, very, very dumb publicity stunt.
They begged the world for privacy, and instead of peace and quiet, they got blasted onto a giant screen. They wanted Los Angeles to adore them, to embrace them, to treat them like royalty turned relatable locals. Instead, they were reportedly booed, loudly, unmistakably, while the cameras caught every frozen smile, every stiff posture, every awkward second of them pretending everything was fine. This wasn't a bad angle. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was rejection, live and unfiltered, at Game 4 of the 2025 World Series. And no, this had nothing to do with baseball. This was something much bigger. This was the crowd passing judgment on their entire American rebrand. The cheers never came. And the real reason people were angry, it goes way deeper than just booing. Everything had been lined up perfectly for a PR win. Every single detail.
Have a look.
On Tuesday, October 28, 2025, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle walked into Dodger Stadium for Game 4. And let's be clear, they didn't slip in quietly. They didn't try to blend into the crowd. The MLB's official X account made sure the world knew they were there, posting video after video of them smiling, waving, soaking it all in. Media outlets like Pure Wow gushed over them, calling them twinning in their matching outfits. White shirts, blue layers, matching Los Angeles Dodgers hats. It was staged to look effortless, casual, natural, but it wasn't.
Where Meghan looked almost manic for attention, and Prince Harry looked like he sometimes would rather be anywhere else on the planet, but at the game, well, that's the only place where he actually gets to do anything kind of.
This whole thing was a performance. Every step, every wave, every smile. They were trying to sell the idea that they were just normal LA locals, cheering for the home team at the biggest game of the year. And they were rewarded with the absolute best seats in the house, right behind home plate. GB News later said those seats were worth tens of thousands of dollars. Cameras stayed locked on them, and that was exactly the point. They wanted to be seen. But this is where it all went wrong, because either Harry and Meghan, or more likely their PR team, made a massive miscalculation. A mistake that exposed just how badly they wanted Hollywood acceptance, and how little they understood the culture of the city they were standing in. The trouble started with the team on the field, the Toronto Blue Jays. And this one detail, something reporters at ASUSA and Sports Illustrated picked up on immediately, flipped the entire narrative. Suddenly, it didn't look like hometown pride. It looked like betrayal.
I think it reflects the entire thing, an epic mess, and as well reflects the very chaotic, very unstructured, very directionless PR strategy of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Critics and fans were quick to point out something Meghan probably hoped no one would mention. She grew up in LA, yes, but she lived in Toronto for 7 years while filming Suits. During that time, she was photographed again and again wearing Toronto Blue Jays gear, acting like a proud supporter. So seeing her now at the World Series, wearing a Dodgers cap while the Dodgers were playing against her old team, it didn't sit right. People called her a fair weather fan, disloyal, opportunistic. This wasn't romantic date night energy. It felt calculated, and the night hadn't even really started yet, because then people noticed the seating. Harry and Meghan weren't just in good seats. They were in the best seats, front row, center stage. And the real issue wasn't even them. It was who was sitting behind them.
Because she's on the cover of Us Weekly talking about how she's reinventing herself. She's getting into high fashion, and she has these hostess items that she's selling. So why in the world is she at a baseball game? The Venn diagram does not work.
Stuck in the second row, directly behind Harry and Meghan, were two absolute legends, basketball icon and Dodgers part owner Magic Johnson and Baseball Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax. For Dodgers fans, this was beyond wrong. It felt insulting. Two of the most respected men in LA sports history, men who built the legacy of LA athletics, sitting behind two controversial ex-royals who had just shown up. The reaction online was instant and furious. The Times of India reported on the backlash as fans Fans flooded social media with anger. One comment summed it up perfectly. Why are they ahead of Magic Johnson? He is Los Angeles. Another said, this is disrespectful. Others demanded they be moved. This wasn't about celebrity. This was about earned status. Magic Johnson isn't just famous, he's a part owner. Sandy Koufax is a 4-time World Series champion. Putting them in the second row felt like spitting on Dodgers history. You could feel the mood shifting. People were whispering, pointing. The vibe went from excited celebrity spotting to straight-up anger. And suddenly, the fair-weather fan accusations against Meghan felt even worse. In the front row, a couple in brand-new hats with questionable loyalty. In the second row, living legends. Every time Fox cameras zoomed in, as GB News noted, it made the situation look uglier. PR experts later said this disaster was avoidable. In a city like LA, optics are everything. Harry and Meghan got royal treatment, but in doing so, the stadium disrespected its real royalty. The couple wanted to look like they belonged, but instead, it looked like they were pushing local heroes aside. The tension was thick. Everyone was watching. And then the Jumbotron made its move. The camera locked onto the front row. Suddenly, Harry and Meghan were blown up on the giant screen, larger than life, in front of a sold-out stadium. What happened next was a PR nightmare that exploded across GB News, Wonderwall, The Blast, The Express, and Clutch Points. According to Clutch Points, the cheers faded fast, and then came the boos, loud, unmistakable, echoing through the stadium. The Express called it savage. GB News confirmed it was very loud. This wasn't a handful of hecklers. This was a wave. Meghan kept smiling, trained actress instincts kicking in, trying to ride it out. But Harry, he looked visibly uncomfortable. Forced smiles, tight jaw. Clutch Points said the awkwardness was impossible to hide. The same couple who demanded privacy were now being booed by thousands, broadcast live to the world. The carefree local fan act was over. The media pounced. Headlines changed instantly. It wasn't Harry and Meghan attend the World Series, it was Harry and Meghan booed. And then the real twist came out. This appearance wasn't random. As Clutch Points and People magazine reported, this all happened just hours after Meghan's lifestyle brand, As Ever, launched its first holiday collection. Suddenly, everything made sense. The hats, the seats, the timing. This wasn't date night, this was marketing. The Times of India didn't hold back, calling it a PR trip. The World Series wasn't about baseball. It was a massive free ad, and instead of applause, the crowd delivered rejection. The irony couldn't have been worse. Sports Illustrated reminded everyone that Meghan had also worn Yankees gear in the past. Unforgivable to Dodgers fans. And to make it all even more painful, the Dodgers lost. The Blue Jays beat them 6-2. Online, people joked the Dodgers had been markled. The narrative was locked in. The boos, the seating outrage, the fair weather fandom, the failed brand push. One night summed up their entire American problem. They tried to play Hollywood, they misread the rules, and the rejection played out live on a Jumbotron. They wanted control of their story. That night, they lost it completely, and what made it sting even more was how fast the story spread. Within minutes, clips were flying across social media. People weren't debating what they heard it. You could hear the boos clearly, cutting straight through the music, through the commentary, through the carefully curated image Harry and Meghan had tried so hard to present. This wasn't something that could be spun away later with a press release or a friendly interview. It was raw, it was public, and it was undeniable. Fans started replaying the moment again and again, slowing it down, zooming in on their faces. Meghan's smile never quite reached her eyes. Harry looked stiff, uncomfortable, almost shocked, like he genuinely hadn't expected this reaction. And that's what people latched onto, the disbelief. The sense that they truly thought this would go differently, that LA would cheer, that the cameras would love them, that the crowd would play along. Instead, the crowd spoke back. And it wasn't just about the seats anymore. It wasn't just about the hats or the teams. It was about a growing frustration people felt toward what they saw as constant image management. The audience didn't see two fans enjoying a game. They saw a performance, a carefully timed appearance designed to grab headlines, dominate the broadcast, and quietly funnel attention toward a brand launch. Sports fans, especially in a city like Los Angeles, are fiercely protective of their icons and traditions. When that line gets crossed, the backlash is swift. What really burned people was the contrast. Magic Johnson and Sandy Koufax didn't ask for attention. They didn't need cameras on them. Their presence alone carries weight, and yet they were sitting behind a couple who, in the eyes of many fans, hadn't earned that place. That visual stuck. It became symbolic. Old school legacy versus modern celebrity hustle. Earned respect versus curated relevance. As the night went on, the mood never recovered. Every camera shot felt heavier. Every mention of their presence felt awkward. Their Commentators tried to move on, but the damage was already done. Online, the tone was brutal. People questioned why Harry and Meghan were even there. Others mocked the idea that this was supposed to make Meghan look relatable or likable. If anything, it did the opposite. Then came the jokes, the memes, the comparisons, the idea that wherever they go, controversy follows, that even something as neutral as a baseball game somehow turns into a referendum on their choices. The Dodgers' loss only fueled that narrative further. Fair or not, people connected the dots and ran with it. The timing couldn't have been worse. What was meant to be a soft launch moment turned into a hard lesson. In America, especially in live sports arenas, the audience doesn't owe you applause. You don't get cheers just because you're famous. You get them because people feel connected to you, or at the very least because they don't feel used by you. That night, the crowd felt used. And the irony? Harry and Meghan left the UK to escape the rigid structure, the constant scrutiny, the cold formality of royal life. But what they walked into was a different kind of pressure cooker. One with no rules written down, no courtiers smoothing things over, no palace walls to retreat behind, just instant reaction, real-time judgment, and a massive screen making sure everyone saw it. By the next morning, the headlines were locked. The boos overshadowed everything else. The holiday collection launch barely registered. Any excitement about the brand was buried under footage of uncomfortable smiles and a stadium turning against them. What should have been momentum became damage control. And that's the part that lingers, because this wasn't some hostile foreign crowd or tabloid ambush. This was their chosen stage, their new home, their audience. And that audience sent a very clear message. The question now isn't whether the moment was embarrassing, it was. The real question is whether they'll learn from it, because in Hollywood, image is currency. And once people start seeing through the performance, it's incredibly hard to win them back. The spotlight doesn't soften. It gets harsher, brighter, less forgiving. That night at the World Series wasn't just a bad outing. It was a warning, a reminder that fame without goodwill is fragile and that not every crowd will play along just because the cameras are rolling.